This is Breakfast with the Strikers. Here's your server, the voice of the Strikers, Bruce Silverman.
Isn't it fun and exciting to be thunderstruck at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning? I am Bruce Silverman. Breakfast with the Strikers on FM 104.3. The Ticket. Unbelievable show for you this morning. The great, the legend. There is no comparison. Ray Hudson, Strikers legend, will be joining me in just a moment. JP Dellacamera, the voice of the New York Cosmos, will join me. Then we will go more around the NASL. Justin Hanover, find out what happened with the Atlanta Silverbacks Wednesday night. It was a wild one between the Silverbacks and the Strikers. We'll go to Minnesota. We'll go to Ottawa. Take care of some housekeeping right now. The game tonight, Strikers, Cosmos. They started playing this rivalry at Lockhart Stadium on June 8th, 1977. We'll do it again tonight. Cosmos coming to town. First 1,500 in attendance get a free match game poster. Chick-fil-A will be out selling food. Auto Nation in the Family Fun Zone. Stop by, have a chance to win spring tickets for 2016. New York Life will be out. Free child ID kits. Inflatable interactive soccer games. Sky Zone. Funky Buddha beer samples. Bubble soccer at halftime. If you need tickets, Strikers.com, starting at just $12. And we've got a back-to-school special. Buy 2 tickets, get 1 free. Strikers.com. That package includes Cosmos and Rowdies, and then you get the Indy 11 game. Not bad. 2 games. You pay for 2, you get 3. Packages start at only $24. But let's start this thing off right, and let's go straight to the line and bring in Rocky Ray Hudson. Ray, how are you?
I'm doing very good, Bruce. How are you?
Hey, you sound about as awake as I am. Can I get you something for breakfast this morning?
No. I've got me a cup of coffee here, so that's all I need. Just getting going, Bruce, before I get down to the studios at Bein Sport for a day's work. And, happy to join you on another historic game at Lockhart between the 2 eternal enemies, Cosmos and the Strikers.
Absolutely, and you played in that game on June 8th, 1977. What was it like at Lockhart Stadium that night?
They were and always have been and always will be the glamour boys. So when the Cosmos came to town, it was a special buzz. The press were more animated. The TV coverage leading up to the game was always very special. There was obviously the aura of superstardom around the team. And, coming into our, which was a very humble stadium back then, I'm not even sure if there was bleachers behind the goals until the year after, if memory serves me right.
You're right.
When Mr. Ruggie expanded in the city of Fort Lauderdale, of course, expanded the stadium to really build on the success that was obviously taking place. But it was a special night. Every time you play against the Cosmos, it's special.
You were fresh off the boat. What were you, like 17, 18 years old at that point?
No, I just turned, I think, 22. I had just turned 22. And so it had always been my dream and ambition to come to America. And I was very much into Americana as a teenager, seeing music and the movies and the wonderful images that we would get of Florida and California and Las Vegas and New York. So it was a dream come true for me to get the invite to come over and play on loan for that first year with the Strikers. And, of course, once you have a walk down Las Olas Boulevard and along A1A, especially at college break, that's the thing, Bruce. The Strikers were very, very, very shrewd people. Mr. Robbie knew that if he got any of the English players over during spring break, which was unbelievable back in those days in the free and naughty 70s, they'll never go back. And he was damn right.
Ray, you've been on spring breaks for 38 years.
Yeah, and every one of them gets better, Bruce.
Absolutely. So that game, June 8th, 1977, I remember it well because I was 9 years old. It was my first soccer game ever. I got hooked on it, and it wasn't a favorable night for the Strikers as the Cosmos won 3-0. It was a goal by Canaglia, Pele, and Beckenbauer. You're 22 years old. You're playing, and I get it that you're playing, but are you in awe of what you're watching on the other side?
I think our first year, it's fair to say that we were, because when you're playing against world-class players, any type of world-class players, and we only had one. We had our one-eyed goalkeeper, Gordon Banks, who was still phenomenal, even with his terrible handicap of having just the one eye. The other one he lost, of course, in a terrible car accident in England the year before, a couple of years before. And coming up against a collection of diamonds like Pele, Canaglia, Beckenbauer, and there were more. There were so many more as well. I mean, they were the points of the pyramid, but there was more behind them as well. Right throughout the team, they were just indomitable. Of course, they went on to win it as well for several years, but the league became much more of a competitive league. Mr. Robbie, of course, and Mrs. Robbie, Mrs. Elizabeth Robbie, they both invested heavily on our own superstars, of course, in the world-class Cubillas and Gerd Muller. George Best would eventually come, Elias Figueroa, Eduardo Bonvalet, Ian Callaghan, the ex-Liverpool player. There was some tremendous. Van Beveren, of course, was the great goalkeeper. So we became what was called Cosmos South. I remember when we used to go up and play the Rowdies, and we would take a lot of flack in the newspapers of trying to imitate the Cosmos by buying all this world-class talent. And that was enjoyable in itself, just to be spoken of in the same breath as the Cosmos.
You are the easiest guy in the world to interview because all you have to do is say hello and just sit back and relax. You realize that?
Yeah, it's become a badge fault.
No. It's a very, very good thing. I was going to ask you about the talent that eventually came to Fort Lauderdale, and then basically you ran through it, and obviously there's so many more guys that we can throw into that list. I want to ask you about that playoff game in 1977 in August. You guys go up to the Meadowlands, 77,691. That is still a record to watch an American soccer game 38 years later. What was it like to play in that game? I mean, let's forget the result was awful at 8-3, but what was it like to play in front of nearly 80,000 people?
It was staggering. I remember the day before the game, we went down to get our team meal, and me and Tony Whelan picked up a copy of the New York Post, and it had a picture of Giants Stadium packed to the gills from a Giants game or a Jets game, and it said Giants Stadium for soccer, SRO. And I'll never forget that. Standing room only. And I said to Tony, what does that mean? And he said, I don't know. SRO. He says, it must have been sold right out. We hadn't even heard that expression before. And come game day, of course, walking out to that tunnel give you goosebumps the size of coconuts. There was Bugs Bunny there waiting to greet me. I asked Bugs for his shirt. I didn't want Kinalia or Pelier's shirt, although I got them. I wanted Bugs Bunny's shirt, of course, Warner Communications, big character, and he had a couple of carrots on his back for his number. It was the most wonderful shirt, and I asked him for it, and he just shook his big ears at it. I give him a kick. But we actually, the game was competitive in the early going as well, to be fair. We put up a real good opening salvo, but they just overran us eventually. They were primed. They were like a magnum bottle of champagne, and Kinalia was just shaking it, and you knew it was going to pop eventually, and it did. Stevie Hunt as well, the English player, who was a big part of that team. Tony Fields, another one. There were several other unsung heroes for the Cosmos. It wasn't all just about the brilliant players that they had. They were supported by excellent players as well. And the biggest compliment I ever got, probably in my career, when all said and done, was the next year when I went back to Newcastle after the season finished. The Cosmos came to St James's Park to the hierarchy, a gentleman called Joe Mallet, and he was representing the Cosmos because they wanted to buy me. And I had told them that if, I'd need to speak to the Strikers, of course, to see if they were interested in bringing me back. But it was the Cosmos that was the first team to come in for me, with Kinalia's blessing, of course, because everything had to go through George. And it was that was a wonderful compliment. It didn't work out because of reasons of finance with Newcastle United, knowing the Cosmos depth of their pockets, were asking ludicrous money for a player who'd only played a handful of games for Newcastle United. But I was very happy to come back to Fort Lauderdale in the end.
Ray Hudson joining me on Breakfast with the Strikers, and just always a joy to spend time with you, Ray. 77,000 plus 38 years ago. No one has come close to it since. Why do you think that is? There's been games that have even eclipsed that, Bruce, in all honesty and fairness, but there haven't been competitive domestic league games. Of course, the 110,000 that were in the big house at Michigan for an exhibition game, some of the national team games for the United States. But at that time, no matter what, when that record is eventually broken, at that time it was a broadcast to the world. This was the clarion call that soccer had really come to the United States in a big way. Now, you cannot discount the great leagues and the great pioneers before that season and before us, but this was the big one. We dropped the big one that day. And it was news all around the world that in the land of baseball and basketball, that there would be nearly 80,000 people turning out for a league game in New York City. And as I say, it was history. It was a historic game. And, of course, the representatives of the Cosmos that day did their great club great justice and just wiped the floor with us, and just showed the gulf of difference between the Cosmos at that time and the Strikers. We get our own back on them a few years later when we hammered them here at Lockhart Stadium. I think it was 5-2 on a wonderful night by George Best. And there was always sweet revenge. I remember beating the Cosmos again in front of a massive crowd in Giant Stadium when we beat them. We were beating them 2-0, and they came back on a Mourinho hat trick. It was his debut, the great Mourinho Chagas,
wonderful blonde Brazilian who played for the Strikers. A few years later, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, rest in peace, of course. He passed away just a couple of years ago. But the winner that he scored, Bruce, was a full-blooded volley from 35 yards out to win the game and to come back from the goals down. And I scored that day, in fact. But we couldn't hold on to victory. The Cosmos were just too eager, too hungry, and as always, just too good more often than not.
I don't know if this is possible. I'm going to ask you one more question. I only have about a minute and a half with you, so that's why I'm not sure if it's possible. I understand the Cosmos. They were everything in the NASL. But what was it about the Fort Lauderdale Strikers in that first year that the rivalry was so big between New York and Fort Lauderdale that it drew nearly 80,000?
Well, we were the little engine that shouldn't but could and did. We won our conference with the vaunted New York Cosmos and the Tampa Bay Rowdies and the Washington Diplomats, all in our division. And we were the champions of those. We won more games than the Cosmos did in that regular season. And the fates of playoff football, of course, cast us both together. We were the set of ragtag and bobtails under Ron Newman. I mean, there was Banksy in goal that first year, and then there was just this bedraggled set of pirates. We were the original Pirates of the Caribbean, with the likes of Tony Whelan and Davy Irvin and Maurice Whittle and Davy Chadwick, and a host of others, Alan Hamlin, George Nanshoff, Ray Lugg, lads who were just very, very humble journeymen, Colin Fowles, Curtis Leaper. These weren't names that you could compare to Pelé and Carlos Alberto and Bogicevic and Romero and Van der Elst and Reisberg and on and on. We were the Cinderella story, but we wore our dress like no others before. And after that truly gargantuan season, that's what New York came out and looked at. They wanted to see, who are these guys? These upstarts wearing these hideous bumblebee football shirts against our royal whites of Kinalia's Cosmos. Well, we came, we saw, and we conquered them in that season by winning that conference in that division. But we couldn't beat them in the big dance in the playoffs. Stinking playoffs, Bruce.
Ray, it's always a pleasure. I know you got to get it down to BN. Full day of work for you. Great day for soccer today. You've got the EPL starting up. BN is back. Strikers and the Cosmos tonight at Lockhart Stadium. All the best to you. Say hello to your broadcast partner, Phil, for me. Tell him I look forward to playing golf with him soon. And you're welcome to join us if you want to.
No, not golf. Not golf for me. No, thanks, Brucey.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. We will definitely talk to you soon. Have a great day, Ray.
Okay, you too. And go Strikers.
All right. Ray Hudson, everybody. Truly one of the best guys in the history of football, certainly in American football. Does an amazing job of doing color commentary with Phil Shane on BN Sports. And not bad. Only ran 2 minutes over on a segment with Ray Hudson. You're listening to Breakfast with the Strikers on FM 104.3 The Ticket. We'll be right back.
I am PC, midfield of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. You are listening to Breakfast with the Strikers, hosted by the voice of the Strikers, Bruce Silverman, here on The Ticket.
Strikers football live on SFL TV.
Fort Lauderdale takes the lead.
South Florida's only professional soccer team.
Dave Andrew here with you at Lockhart Stadium.
Every kick, every goal, live on SFL TV.
Tonight, your Fort Lauderdale Strikers are at home, taking on the New York Cosmos at 7:30 at Lockhart Stadium and on WSFL TV. Get your tickets at Strikers.com.
The cows are calling. The cows are trying to call you on the phone to tell you to eat more chicken. Unfortunately, cows have hooves, so not only is the receiver hard to pick up, but the little numbers are nearly impossible to dial. The cows want you to eat at Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A. They didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
Hey, sports fans, are you ready for some soccer?
Take the shot, score!
Come out to Lockhart Stadium to cheer on South Florida's only professional soccer team, the Fort Lauderdale Strikers.
Shot from distance!
We have lots of activities on game day. Tailgating, games for the kids in the family fun zone, camaraderie with your fellow Striker-likers, and some great Strikers soccer.
And a goal! Strikers are on the board!
There's nothing like experiencing the game live. Get your tickets now starting at only $12 at Strikers.com. Weeknights on SFL TV. No news, just laughs. Whenever laughter breaks.
My heart exploded!
Oh my God, I did it again! Wherever funny happens.
I'm never gonna drink again.
Quitter. Harley. SFL TV is there.
It was so much fun!
Working hard to keep you laughing.
I'm laughing already.
Modern Family at 6. 2.5 Men at 7. Weeknights on SFL TV. No news, just laughs.
After the playoffs are over, I miss going to the stadium, tailgating with my friends, and cheering with the crowd. Then, one day, a friend took me to a Strikers game, and it was awesome. I just loved the atmosphere. So now, they're my other team. I figure it's okay to have more than one team. It's soccer, so it's not cheating. I'm not cheating.
Already cheering for a team? That's okay with us. You can also become a fan of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, Florida's official other team. Support us and come to our home games at Lockhart Stadium. Get your tickets for as low as $12 at Strikers.com.
Hey, Striker-likers, have you seen our newest and coolest Strikers gear? The Strikers have teamed up with local artist Todd Dawes to design some great-looking merchandise that combines a perfect blend of old-school Strikers legacy with some modern-era red-hot designs. Go to StrikersSoccerShop.com to check out all of our new merchandise featuring matchday jerseys, training gear, hoodies, t-shirts, phone cases, and waterproof drawstring backpacks. Go to StrikersSoccerShop.com to order your favorite gear now. Welcome back to Breakfast with the Strikers. Here's your server, the voice of the Strikers, Bruce Silverman.
Welcome back, boys and girls. Ray Hudson just joined us. And if that doesn't wake you up on a Saturday morning, I don't know what does. Rocky Ray Hudson, number 4. One of the legends, not just in football, but in all of sports. An absolute treasure, and it's pretty amazing that he was one of the lads from Lauderdale. But for right now, let's get back to this discussion about New York and Fort Lauderdale. The rivalry continues tonight. Strikers, 0 wins, 1 draw, and now 6 losses against the men in green. So let's
around the NASL, New York Cosmos.
And with that, we bring in JP Dellacamera. JP, how are you?
I'm great, Bruce, but why do I have to follow up Ray Hudson? Couldn't I have gone on first? Ray's a tough act to follow, seriously.
Yeah, well, I'm the one that has to stay here before and after Ray. So
Ray is great. People forget how good a coach even, that Ray was. They think of him now as a broadcaster, but I used to enjoy my conversations with him when he was coaching back in the day. Good guy.
Oh, absolutely amazing, and does an amazing job of doing color. How would you like to do a game where you did the play-by-play and he did the color?
I did that, actually.
Okay.
At BN Sports, I want to say a year and a half ago, maybe. I think it was, I can't remember the game, a World Cup qualifier. And it was interesting and it was fascinating. I wondered how it would go because, Ray's very colorful, more like a Dick Vitale if you used the basketball analogy,
right?
With the personality and all that. But we worked together great. I enjoyed it.
I would absolutely love to do a game with him, and I'm not a jealous person, and really jealousy doesn't even come into it, and I don't even think jealousy is the right word. But I've had many conversations with Phil Shane, his broadcast partner, and I know how lucky Phil feels to work with Ray day in and day out. You can't help but be around Ray or listen to Ray and know how much joy the game of football brings him, and how much you just learn by osmosis.
Yeah, it's great to listen to the both of them, actually, and when they do those Clasico games from Spain.
Absolutely.
Even better.
Well, tonight we've got a Clasico.
Yeah.
This time at Lockhart Stadium for the second time in less than a week. The Strikers and the Cosmos get together. Always an amazing, fascinating matchup. Strikers in the modern era, 0 wins, 1 draw, now 6 losses. What do you think the Strikers need to do to grab 3 points tonight?
A little bit of good luck would help them. Last week, Angulo scored, and that would have changed the game, and they called it offside. And every angle we showed on television was that it was a good goal for him. I thought that they were a bit unlucky. That first goal, obviously, I know Hunter really well, Hunter Freeman, and if he says that he was shooting at goal, that's fine. I've seen like different versions of it, but Ford could have done better, with that ball, whether it was a shot or whether it was a cross. So that was kind of unfortunate for Fort Lauderdale, because I thought the longer that game stayed at 0-0, the better it was for Fort Lauderdale. So I think that last week's game, forget the scoreline. They created some chances. They were very organized defensively, I thought, and could just have used maybe just a little bit of good luck in that game, and that might have been the difference to at least get a point out of that. They deserved a little bit more, I thought.
The Strikers have been very unlucky this season. That was actually the second goal taken off the board. The first one was a few weeks ago against Atlanta. I believe it was in extra time. It was a header, would have actually put the Strikers up 3-2. Chances are they would have run out the clock. It was called back because an official thought that Angulo climbed up someone's back on the header. So, here's a guy who has 3 goals, may have very well have had 5 goals already on the season. And then just the other night, Wednesday night in Atlanta, in the last basically 10 minutes of play, Strikers pick up 3 red cards, changes the entire complexion of the game tonight.
Yeah, I saw that. I was fascinated by that. And I was going to ask you, how do you get 3 red cards in a game? Or did one of them happen after the game, like in a post game?
No. This is what happened at about the 84-minute mark, something I have never seen in soccer. Ed Borth, my broadcast partner's never seen it. The guys in Atlanta, I'll have Justin Hanover on a little bit later today. Everyone I have spoken to never seen this. Stefano has a collision with one of the Atlanta players. He gets a red, and the opposing Silverback gets a yellow. I've never seen that before on the same play. There was massive confusion because there was about a 4 or 5 minute discussion. It happens right in front of the Fort Lauderdale bench. At one point, we thought that they had actually waved off the red, changed it to a yellow, but when they showed the yellow, they were showing it to the Silverback player. So it was bizarre from there. Strikers were very, very deflated by that. They really lost their composure. And then in extra time, Karsten Smith picks up a red on a slide tackle, and then James Marceline picks up a red just a few minutes later, maybe a few moments later, in the whole chaos of what took place in that corner where everything happened. And that's how you end up with 3 reds.
Wow.
Finish the game with 8 players. Obviously, Stefano, Karsten Smith, and Marceline out tonight against the Cosmos, which really hurts.
Yeah,
and
those are big losses. I mean, you get Henry Thomas, who I think, assuming he's 100% in terms of his fitness, he'll help you guys as a holding midfielder. I don't know what he would do tonight if he starts, but I think that's a good pickup.
Well, he's been training with us for a while, so he's not a stranger to this team.
Mm-hmm.
Think his fitness is there. Very similar. You talked about his physicality. Very similar player to James Marceline, so I think that will help. Mm-hmm. But it just shortens the bench for the Strikers, who already have a short bench between injury and not having a full roster. It's going to be a tall task for the Strikers to pick up 1 point, let alone 3 points. Gunter 2.0 starts out well with 3 straight draws and then a big win at Tampa Bay against Thomas Rongen and the Tampa Bay Strikers. And then these 2 losses, both to New York and to Atlanta. The good news is they play at home. The bad news is they don't have a great record at home.
Yeah, that's always tough. I mean, if you're good at home, which every team should be, then you win your share of road games. You're in a playoff position, whether it's NASL or MLS or another league that has a playoff system. But if you struggle at home, that makes it even tougher. And I think that in your stadium, there should be always a nice atmosphere to make it tougher, I would say, for visiting teams. What would probably help Fort Lauderdale, and it's easier said than done, is maybe a little bit of help for Stefano. Gunter has some very good players offensively. Stefano is definitely one of them. PC's another. There's some good pieces there. But all these teams, Cosmos included, could use a secondary score. I mean, they're getting they've got goals now in the last 2 games from Hunter Freeman, which is great for them, but the forwards are not scoring. And at some point, at the end of the day, if your forwards are not getting you goals, you've really got to be fortunate if you're getting goals from elsewhere, because those are the guys that are paid to get the goals.
Well, you're absolutely right, but it's always a bonus when you can get one from a defender, because that's just found money, in my opinion.
Yes, it takes the pressure away, too, from guys that are struggling to score. But Freeman's a good offensive player. He started the year on the injury list, only started a couple of games during the spring season because he wasn't really fully fit. Actually played a couple of games in the NPSL to get himself back in shape. So I think that goal the other day really helped him and gets him off to a good start. Hunter Gorski was starting in his place. And Gio Savarese told me last week that he likes to have, as all coaches do, competition at all spots. So when I asked him about Hunter Freeman, he said, we've got a 3-way position for that right back spot. He said him, Gorski, and Mulligan. And I'm thinking, but Freeman is better, And I think that's just, sometimes that's coach speak. I mean, if Hunter Freeman is healthy, as he appears to be now, nobody's going to take that spot away from him.
What is it about these two teams? I asked Ray Hudson about this, but what is it about these two teams that 38 years after they started playing, it's one of those games where you throw out the records, you throw caution to the wind, and you just sit back and relax?
Yeah, I don't think you can put a finger on it, because the guys that are playing on these teams now really don't have a sense of history of the rivalry, in my opinion. They have a sense of the history of the teams. Like the guys that are wearing the Strikers uniforms, in some cases, remember the Strikers from the NASL days. Cosmos, absolutely, for sure. That was one of the draws and the allure of bringing players like Marco Senna and Raul into the Cosmos family in the first place. But I think, the rivalry itself probably started just when these two teams got together, back playing again. It was probably physical, probably some tight games and some heartbreaking results, especially for Fort Lauderdale, and it becomes a rivalry. Your game the other night with the 3 red cards, those two teams now will have a rivalry. Wait for the next game.
Well, unfortunately, we've already played Atlanta 3 times this year.
Done?
Yeah, we're done. We had them in the spring,
well,
and then
next year. Hey, next year.
Yeah, unless of course the Strikers can put some type of playoff run together. Obviously, Atlanta right now playing very, very good soccer along with the Ottawa Fury. Strikers and the Cosmos have played 7 games now in the modern era, and the Strikers have not won. Do you think that's bad luck, or do you think it's more New York is just that much better?
No, I think some of it is bad luck. I'd have to look at each game. How close were the games? Were they blowouts? Were they, like last week's game? Like I said, I think if anyone goes away from that thinking that the Strikers were bad and the Cosmos were great, you're coming away, I think, with the wrong impression, because I thought that the Strikers could have at least gotten a point out of that game, and who knows, that could have been a 0-0 game if that first goal isn't scored by Hunter Freeman. The second goal, Fort Lauderdale kind of led up towards the end. It was a bad giveaway, turnover, and it resulted in a goal, and those are always killers right before the half. So bad luck is probably part of it in terms of the Strikers, but I don't see like one common theme. I've done probably 3 or 4 of those games, and I can't recall a common theme where I could say to you, yeah, every game, Fort Lauderdale just can't score goals, or they don't get it together defensively, or there's always like this one big error. I can't think of a common theme that I've seen in those games between the Cosmos and the Strikers.
I'm right there with you. I think out of the 7 games, I've called 5 of the 7. I've called every single home game, and then, of course, I called the away game on Sunday, Strikers and the Cosmos tonight. Last question for you very, very quickly.
Sure.
3 red cards, 3 guys are out on suspension tonight. Do you think that will make the Strikers play looser or tighter?
Great question. Depends obviously on the replacements. I think Thomas, he's a veteran, so he's not going to be tight at all. I think if I'm the Cosmos, and I think knowing Gio Savarese, there's no way that they go in there saying, hey guys, these guys have 3 red cards on them. It's going to be an easy game, because that's not going to be the case. But I would think you would make an attempt to go after those replacements, and you've got to hope that somebody like Angulo doesn't take over for Stefano and come up with a big night. I think the fear of opposing coaches is always that when a team is shorthanded, they can be very dangerous because you've got some younger players that are looking for quality minutes. They're going to get those minutes tonight. So when you come into those games and you take a wounded opponent lightly, you end up paying for it.
He's JP Dellacamera. He's the voice of everything in American soccer. Thank you very much, my friend. Have a great night yourself.
Anytime, Bruce.
All right, JP, we're going to jump out of here and take a break. When we come back, Justin Hanover.
Hi, Striker Likers. I am Walter Ramirez. I play left mid in the Florida Strikers. You are listening to the Breakfast with the Strikers, hosted by the both of the Strikers. Bro Silverman here on the ticket.
Strikers football live on SFL TV.
And that's it. And Fort Lauderdale takes the lead.
South Florida's only professional soccer team.
Dave Andrew here with you at Lockhart Stadium.
Every kick, every goal, live on SFL TV.
Tonight, your Fort Lauderdale Strikers are at home, taking on the New York Cosmos at 7:30 at Lockhart Stadium and on WSFL TV. Get your tickets at Strikers.com.
The cows are calling. The cows are trying to call you on the phone to tell you to eat more chicken. Unfortunately, cows have hooves, so not only is the receiver hard to pick up, but the little numbers are nearly impossible to dial. The cows want you to eat at Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A. They didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
Hey, sports fans, are you ready for some soccer?
Take the shot, score!
Come out to Lockhart Stadium to cheer on South Florida's only professional soccer team, the Fort Lauderdale Strikers.
Shot from distance!
We have lots of activities on game day. Tailgating, games for the kids in the family fun zone, camaraderie with your fellow Striker likers, and some great Strikers soccer.
And a goal! Strikers are on the board!
There's nothing like experiencing the game live. Get your tickets now, starting at only $12 at Strikers.com. Weeknights on SFL TV. No news, just laughs. Coverage from the air.
What do you say in English?
Helicopter. And on the ground.
Hey, Dad, check it out. Your car's on TV.
Oh, God. SFL TV is there.
So much fun.
We're working hard to keep you laughing.
I'm laughing already.
Modern Family at 6. 2.5 Men at 7. Weeknights on SFL TV. No news, just laughs.
After the playoffs are over, I miss going to the stadium, tailgating with my friends, and cheering with the crowd. Then, one day, a friend took me to a Strikers game, and it was awesome. I just loved the atmosphere. So now, they're my other team. I figure it's okay to have more than one team. It's soccer, so it's not cheating. I'm not cheating.
Already cheering for a team? That's okay with us. You can also become a fan of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, Florida's official other team. Support us and come to our home games at Lockhart Stadium. Get your tickets for as low as $12 at Strikers.com.
Hey, Striker likers, have you seen our newest and coolest Strikers gear? The Strikers have teamed up with local artist Todd Dawes to design some great-looking merchandise that combines a perfect blend of old-school Strikers legacy with some modern-era red-hot designs. Go to StrikersSoccerShop.com to check out all of our new merchandise featuring matchday jerseys, training gear, hoodies, t-shirts, phone cases, and waterproof drawstring backpacks. Go to StrikersSoccerShop.com to order your favorite gear now. Welcome back to Breakfast with the Strikers. Here's your server, the voice of the Strikers, Bruce Silverman. Around the NASL, Atlanta Silverbacks.
Justin Hanover joins us right now. Justin, how are you?
Doing great, Bruce. How are you?
Good. Can I get you any breakfast?
No, the kids just got me up and I've already eaten. Thanks, man.
All right, there we go. Don't have a lot of time. Let's get into it very quickly. What in the world happened in Atlanta. Where in the world did 3 red cards come in at the end of that game?
Well, I'll tell you, I think 2 of them were red card worthy. The last 2, I'm still unclear about what happened on the first one with Josh Hughes sort of going into the tackle with Stefano. My only assumption is, and I have not seen a good angle on that one, but my only assumption is that the referee believes Stefano stepped on Josh Hughes. I think he was just trying to avoid him, and he sort of lost his balance. But that's the only rationale, really, I can make of it, and it certainly did spiral out of control there. The last 2 fouls, though, the Carson Smith one, Bruce, was ugly. You can't go studs up like that with violence. And then the temperature of the match, the way things were going, I think the referee had to give Mark Feline that red. If he didn't, then I believe there would have been a fight on the pitch.
I don't know what you guys were talking about on your broadcast, obviously, because they were going on at the same time. But we had mentioned about the 70, 75-minute mark that it was a relatively quiet game. There were definitely some things that were whistle-worthy. Some maybe you can make an argument for yellow, but the referee was letting them play. And then all of a sudden the laundry just came out.
He was, and you look at both teams, they're the 2 politest teams in the league, for lack of a better word, in terms of yellow cards. They each only had 22 coming in, the least. So you guys only committed, I think it was 148 fouls, which were the least in the league there as well.
Yeah, we don't like to touch anybody.
Yeah, you didn't expect the fireworks to happen the way they did. But to be honest, I think your team sort of lost a little discipline.
Well, certainly you're right. After that Stefano card, and it happened right in front of the Strikers bench, composure was just completely gone.
Yeah, it was, and it never should happen that way. Gary Smith spoke about it afterwards. He was a little perplexed, I believe, about the Stefano red, but he said you just can't lose your discipline the way they did, and it's going to come back to bite you today, obviously, as you're without 3 players.
And we take on the Cosmos again for the second time in less than a week. I had J.P. Delacamera on. I wanted to ask him. My phone was lighting up, and I don't have a lot of time, so I'll get into this, but my phone was lighting up that it turns out same referee handed out 3 red cards against Tampa Bay right before Tampa Bay played New York. I'm not conspiracy theorist, but
Bruce, I watched that match, and the ironic part was it was pretty much the same exact scenario. He gave one out in, I believe it was the 73rd or so, and then all of a sudden, the way you guys just received those last 2, the Rowdies got in the exact same scenario, the last 2. One was about in the 90th minute when it just started, and then one in about the 94th minute or so. It was uncanny, the similarities.
It must be a Florida thing. Must be in the water and the orange juice, something going on down here.
Well, who knows? But, yeah, it's ironic that it was the same referee in Boubacar Jello.
Hey, listen, love having you on. Atlanta's playing great soccer. That combination between Chavez and Mendez is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Enjoy it very much. You guys take on San Antonio tonight. Best of luck. Thanks again for coming on.
Great. Thanks, Bruce. Keep up the good work. Appreciate it.
Justin Hanover, Atlanta Silverbacks. We're going to jump out, take a break. When we come back, we go to Minnesota, we go to Ottawa. You're listening to Breakfast with the Strikers on 104.3 The Ticket.
Hey, Striker Likers. I'm goalkeeper David Mavis of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. You're listening to Breakfast with the Strikers, hosted by the voice of the Strikers, Bruce Silverman, here on The Ticket.
Strikers football live on SFL TV.
And that's it. And Fort Lauderdale takes the lead.
South Florida's only professional soccer team.
Dave Azer here with you at Lockhart Stadium.
Every kick, every goal, live on SFL TV.
Tonight, your Fort Lauderdale Strikers are at home, taking on the New York Cosmos at 7:30 at Lockhart Stadium and on WSFL TV. Get your tickets at Strikers.com.
The cows are calling. The cows are trying to call you on the phone to tell you to eat more chicken. Unfortunately, cows have hooves, so not only is the receiver hard to pick up, but the little numbers are nearly impossible to dial. The cows want you to eat at Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A. They didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
Hey, sports fans, are you ready for some soccer?
Take the shot, score!
Come out to Lockhart Stadium to cheer on South Florida's only professional soccer team, the Fort Lauderdale Strikers.
Shot from distance.
We have lots of activities on game day. Tailgating, games for the kids in the family fun zone, camaraderie with your fellow Striker-likers, and some great Strikers soccer.
And a goal. Strikers are on the board.
There's nothing like experiencing the game live. Get your tickets now starting at only $12 at Strikers.com. Weeknights on SFL TV. No news, just laughs. Whenever laughter breaks.
We're exploding!
Oh my God, I did it again!
Wherever funny happens.
I'm never gonna drink again.
Quitter.
Harley?
SFL TV is there.
It was so much fun!
Working hard to keep you laughing.
I'm laughing already.
Modern Family at 6. 2.5 Men at 7. Weeknights on SFL TV. No news, just laughs.
After the playoffs are over, I miss going to the stadium, tailgating with my friends, and cheering with the crowd. Then, one day, a friend took me to a Strikers game, and it was awesome. I just loved the atmosphere. So now, they're my other team. I figure it's okay to have more than one team. It's soccer, so it's not cheating. I'm not cheating.
Already cheering for a team? That's okay with us. You can also become a fan of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, Florida's official other team. Support us and come to our home games at Lockhart Stadium. Get your tickets for as low as $12 at Strikers.com.
Hey, Striker-likers, have you seen our newest and coolest Strikers gear? The Strikers have teamed up with local artist Todd Dawes to design some great-looking merchandise that combines a perfect blend of old-school Strikers legacy with some modern-era red-hot designs. Go to StrikersSoccerShop.com to check out all of our new merchandise featuring match day jerseys, training gear, hoodies, t-shirts, phone cases, and waterproof drawstring backpacks. Go to StrikersSoccerShop.com to order your favorite gear now. Welcome back to Breakfast with the Strikers. Here's your server, the voice of the Strikers, Bruce Silverman.
Welcome back, boys and girls. Breakfast with the Strikers. I am your server, Bruce Silverman. Had some fun already this morning. Going to have some more. I want to thank Ray Hudson, JP Delacamera, Justin Hanover, and now one of my favorite guests.
Around the NASL, Minnesota United.
Chris Lindholm joins us now. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I am doing very, very well, my friend. I thank you very, very much.
No problem. Anytime. Anything for you, Bruce.
Oh, let's see if you come up with something good so that we can rack your comment as we did the last time you were on the show. Voice of the Minnesota United, tonight taking on the Eddies from Edmonton that are sitting third on the fall table right now with 11 points. What do you see in this matchup between number 3 and number 4 United?
Well, what Edmonton likes to do, and this is what they did against Minnesota earlier in the year, is Minnesota likes to push forward, get into the attack, high pressure, including the outside backs. And that can set up Minnesota for a counterattack. And Edmonton took full advantage of that in the previous matchup. So I see Minnesota United being a little more aware of that. Like, for example, in the previous matchup, Lance Lang, I don't think played any defense whatsoever. He just hung out on the wing. They hit him, counterattack, boom. And I think Minnesota United will be a lot more aware of that situation and may not push up as high, specifically from the back four.
This season is shaping up very interestingly for the United. You start the season, and you have Miguel Ibarra, and you have Christian Ramirez. And Ramirez didn't play all that much in the spring. Ibarra is now in Mexico. It looks like Ramirez is back on form.
Yes, he is. I think he is. He's found that touch. 5 goals in 5 straight games for number 21. He was given that opportunity. He wasn't, like you said, Bruce, he wasn't starting a lot in the spring, coming off the bench primarily. And now these last 5 games, Minnesota United has played pretty much the same lineup. And Christian Ramirez has been starting up top, and he's just responded. He's found the back of the net. He just has that, as my color commentator, Alan Willey, says, he has that natural goal-scoring sense. He knows where to be at the right time.
Well, he's Superman, right? Because Ibarra was Batman.
Correct.
Okay, so how's Superman doing without Batman?
I think he's doing just fine because he has a good group of guys behind him, specifically the five behind him. Iago, who comes in periodically, has provided some good speed on the outside. He hasn't played a ton, but Ibsen in the midfield and Giuliano Vicencini and Aaron Pitchkolin, those three up the middle right behind Ramirez have been helping him out tremendously. And it's been great. Khalif Al-Hassan, who's really kind of taken over for Miguel Ibarra on the outside. Again, he too is having a wonderful series of games here, these last 4 or 5 games for Minnesota United. They, I think, have found the 11.
All right, I got 30 seconds. I'm going to ask you this question, so you got to answer it quickly. Minnesota United, are they going to MLS, or is the stadium going to be the Achilles heel?
I think the stadium will get done. MLS is meeting with the mayor of St. Paul on Tuesday. I think they'll get something done because there has been dialogue between Minnesota United and the city of St. Paul going back to a few years. I think they'll get it done, and I think Minnesota United moves on to MLS.
Chris Lindholm, voice of the Minnesota United. Best of luck tonight against the Eddies. I was about to say the Scorpions, but that's not right. Taking on the Eddies. Have a good time on the broadcast tonight.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You have a good one.
You too. Let's go quickly to Ottawa.
Around the NASL, Ottawa Fury.
And my friend Graham Ivory joins us now. Graham, how are you?
Doing well, Bruce. Thanks. Yourself?
I'm doing very, very well. What's going on? What do you guys have in the water in Ottawa? 16 points, 6 games. I mean, did all it take is for the Fury to pick up a couple of guys from Fort Lauderdale and Rafi Alves and Ali Hassan to become the best team in the NASL?
Well, they've definitely been 2 key players, especially in the fall season for us. But, I think at the start of the year, the belief was that, if this team could score goals, they definitely would put themselves in a position to get into the postseason. Now, defense was the issue to start, and then once they figured that out, and we just had to figure out how to score. And since the beginning of July, everything's just clicking for us.
Why? I would say so. I mean, first of all, what do you guys go, like 135 games without a goal, without giving up a goal?
It was a good run without conceding a goal. I think it was 648 minutes without conceding. So, but, you talk to any of the guys and they say, look, it's not just the back four. It's not just Romuald Pezer in goal. It's an 11-man unit in how they defend and how they play both with and without the ball. And it's just really impressive to see how well they've clicked, and more importantly, just how well they've been able to do it while the back four and the goalkeeper have remained the same. There's been a lot of changes, just a couple of injuries here and there, but you take one guy out, you put another guy in, and you're still getting production. You're still getting that chemistry with everyone else. So that's been a huge asset, the depth in this second half.
Second-year team, struggled last year, completely turned things around now. Seem with a game in hand over Atlanta, with the game tonight and at Indy. Great opportunities to run away with the fall season. What do you see happening tonight against the 11?
Well, Indy's always a good team at home. They always play you tight. They have that massive fan base supporting them, so that's a huge 12th-man advantage for that squad. But they're definitely having a hard time right now. We've seen actually since we beat them 4-2 3 weeks ago, they haven't been able to get back in the win column. This is a very confident Ottawa team, but they also know that they how well they have to respect the opposition. And I think that's been a key to this 11-game unbeaten streak. But we've never lost going to Indianapolis. Won both road games last year, and that just seems to be the team that we always play well against. So all biases aside, I still think that Ottawa comes out on top tonight.
All right, and then let's change gears just a little bit. Strikers and the Fury have played once up in Ottawa. It was a 3-1 win for the Strikers. They're a home and away series still to go in the fall series. Are those games that you guys circle?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have to look at every game individually, at least how we prepare for that. You can't look past the next one. Like we can't even look past tonight to look forward to Minnesota next Saturday at TD Place. But It's always a tough game against Fort Lauderdale. We haven't had very much success against them, so it's definitely a team where you want to say, hey, look, this is an important game for us. We want to make sure that we sort ourselves out, just as we did with going to Edmonton last week. We've never beaten Edmonton in Edmonton. We just haven't done well against them, especially in the Amway Cup. So it was great to see that kind of demon exercise last Sunday, and hopefully when we face your lads in the coming months, that we're able to sort that out as well.
Well, I don't wish you the best of luck when you play us.
That's fair.
But I certainly wish you the best of luck tonight. Did the Women's World Cup give the team a bounce in attendance, combined with the way you guys have been playing on the pitch?
It certainly brought, we didn't see a massive spike in attendance, but we saw a larger number of new faces that have come to the stadium. So the awareness factor of the stadium and the entire complex at Lansdowne Park is definitely huge. Because there's people from different parts of the city and the outlying areas that had never been there before, but were there for the Women's World Cup and said, hey, we had a blast, we want to come back again. Take that coupled with the success that we've had, and it's certainly raising the profile of the club. So that's helping with numbers, and more importantly, it's helping with media coverage because, it's hard to not like a team that's on the run that we're currently on.
He's Graham Ivory. He's with the Ottawa Fury. I appreciate it, my friend. Have fun tonight.
Anytime, Bruce. Thanks again.
All right. Great show. Wow, an hour goes very, very quickly. I want to give out the thanks real quick. Ray Hudson, Rocky Ray Hudson, awesome interview. JP Delacamera with the Cosmos, Justin Hanover with the Atlanta Silverbacks, Chris Lindholm, Minnesota United. We just heard Graham Ivory. First 1,500 in attendance tonight. Free match game poster. Chick-fil-A's out there. Auto Nation is out. Stop by with chance to win 2016 spring tickets. New York Life is out. Free child IDs. Inflatable interactive soccer games. Sky Zone. Funky Buddha's got some beer. Bubble soccer at halftime. Go to strikers.com. Tickets are just $12, starting at just $12. Buy two, get one free. That's the back-to-school special. Visit strikers.com for that. Want to thank everyone associated with this show. And no thanks to Walter Ramirez. Hey, happy birthday, Evans Frimpong. We will see you at Lockhart Stadium tonight at 7:30. I am Bruce Silverman. See ya.
I'm Evans Frimpong, attacking midfielder of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. You are listening to Breakfast with the Strikers, hosted by the voice of the Strikers, Bruce Silverman, here on The Ticket.
Strikers football live on SFL TV.
And that's it. And Fort Lauderdale takes the lead.
South Florida's only professional soccer team.
Dave Azer here with you at Lockhart Stadium.
Every kick, every goal, live on SFL TV.
Tonight, your Fort Lauderdale Strikers are at home, taking on the New York Cosmos at 7:30 at Lockhart Stadium and on WSFL TV. Get your tickets at strikers.com.
The cows are calling. The cows are trying to call you on the phone to tell you to eat more chicken. Unfortunately, cows have hooves, so not only is the receiver hard to pick up, but the little numbers are nearly impossible to dial. The cows want you to eat at Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A. They didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
Hey, sports fans, are you ready for some soccer?
Take the shot, score!
Come out to Lockhart Stadium to cheer on South Florida's only professional soccer team, the Fort Lauderdale Strikers.
Shot from distance!
We have lots of activities on game day. Tailgating, games for the kids in the family fun zone, camaraderie with your fellow Striker-likers, and some great Strikers soccer.
And a goal! Strikers are on the board!
There's nothing like experiencing the game live. Get your tickets now starting at only $12 at Strikers.com. Weeknights on SFL TV. No news, just laughs. Coverage from the air.
What do you say in English?
Helicopter. And on the ground.
Hey, Dad, check it out. Your car's on TV.
Oh, God.
SFL TV is there.
It was so much fun.
We're working hard to keep you laughing.
I'm laughing already.
Modern Family at 6. 2.5 Men at 7. Weeknights on SFL TV. No news, just laughs.
After the playoffs are over, I miss going to the stadium, tailgating with my friends, and cheering with the crowd. Then, one day, a friend took me to a Strikers game, and it was awesome. I just loved the atmosphere. So now, they're my other team. I figure it's okay to have more than one team. It's soccer, so it's not cheating. I'm not cheating.
Our team, that's okay with us. You can also become a fan of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, Florida's official other team. Support us and come to our home games at Lockhart Stadium. Get your tickets for as low as $12 at Strikers.com.
Hey, Striker Likers, have you seen our newest and coolest Strikers gear? The Strikers have teamed up with local artist Todd Dawes to design some great-looking merchandise that combines a perfect blend of old-school Strikers legacy with some modern-era red-hot designs. Go to StrikersSoccerShop.com to check out all of our new merchandise featuring match day jerseys, training gear, hoodies, t-shirts, phone cases, and waterproof drawstring backpacks. Go to StrikersSoccerShop.com to order your favorite gear now. This is the flagship station for Miami Heat basketball. WAXY FM Miramar, WAXY AM South Miami.